Welcome again to another episode of the Seven Voice Podcast. I'm your host, Aziz Adesanya. I'm here today with another important guest. He's a friend of mine. He's my brother. He's the owner of Marquee Realty. I'm having here today with me, Manny Haidary.
Hi, Aziz. How are you, brother?
I'm good. I almost mess up your name, you know that.
It's
Almost
okay.
mess up your name, brother.
It's okay, brother. How are you?
I am doing great. We've been having conversation for probably almost a year now. You're a very difficult person to catch, brother.
No, brother.
You're busy.
We've been a little busy,
I know.
but I appreciate you having me on, and I look forward to doing the podcast with you. And I apologize for the delay, but
I
it's
know.
just all over the place. But yeah, we got some exciting things to talk about.
Of course. We have a lot of exciting things to talk about. We have a lot of exciting things to do together. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think I'm happy that we actually delayed the episode till today. Because now we kind of have more things to talk about.
Of
right?
course,
So
of course.
I know I call you my brother at the beginning of the introduction because that's who you are to me.
Of
When
course,
I
my
met
brother.
you over a year and a half ago, we connected, and since then we've been friends. I've
We've been
learned a
friends.
lot of things from you.
Yes.
You're one of the real estate agents that I look up to because what I want to do, where I want to be, is what you're doing, and I think that's why we connect a lot. Because I just don't want to be a real estate agent.
Yeah, I understand.
I get into this industry because I want to be an investor.
Yeah, makes
You understand?
sense.
And that was the initial goal 3.5 years ago.
Mhm.
However, when you get into the business and you become an agent, you kind of get sucked into being a realtor,
Mhm.
which I don't hate, right? It's a good thing to help people to create wealth.
Of course.
But the main goal is how can you use the help you're doing for people to also invest yourself to become an investor.
Mhm.
And when I met you, you were like exactly what I'm looking for. A real estate agent that is doing it and successfully, getting deals as an agent, also investing, doing a lot of investing. And you've
Yeah.
done a lot of, different kind of investing, flipping, burr and everything. And I think we're going to talk about a lot about those things today. But
sure.
before we dive into the conversation, I want you to tell my audience who you are. Who is Manny?
So, Manny is a blue collar guy. Manny is just a blue collar guy trying to make it just like anybody else. At the end of the day, like just like yourself, I got in the business. I wanted to be a realtor.
That's it.
I wanted to be a realtor, and I wanted to be the best realtor. And how to become the best is you obsess. You obsess over something, so you learn it. You learn the system. You learn the paperwork. You learn the city. Because I was looking very young when I got started 14 years
You're
ago.
still young, brother.
I still look young. I got some whites because of my
You're still young.
kids and my...
I know.
But, when I got started, because I look so young, I wasn't getting any business.
People are thinking, we'll
So
give the
he's
deal
too
to this
young.
small boy.
Yeah, he's too young. They would always give business to people that had they had the gray hairs and they looked more sophisticated and this and that. So I said, okay, so how can I sharpen my skills that I'm better than them?
How can you grow up faster?
How can I be better than those
Okay.
people? So technology,
Okay.
the system, paperwork, and the city. These are the 4 categories. I said, I'm going to dominate. Just like anybody, you got to trial and error. You don't just get up and you know everything. You don't,
Exactly.
as a baby, you learn how to crawl. You learn how to
Do the baby
stand.
stuff
You
first.
learn how to walk, right? There's steps and there's layers to things. And nobody teaches you out of real estate school
No,
how difficult this profession can be.
they don't.
There's many times I wanted to say, you know what, this is not for me. Actually, if you watch my podcast, I also have a podcast, The Real Side of Real Estate. My first podcast ever was with my first client ever.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
That you, with the lady that you did. I think you
Was
did
a-
it beside.
It was a gentleman.
Oh,
that I
maybe
had,
that one. There is another one you did with a woman that you said you did a investing with
investor.
her.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That was my first investor. But
Okay.
the first gentleman that I did, I purchased a property with, and I sold his property. I was going broke, and I was doing everything I could to get business, but nothing was working out. And I didn't give up. I just kept going. I didn't have the opportunity to to give up. I didn't have the chance to give up.
Okay.
My whole life was depending on me. It was my mom, my sisters, it was me. And it was like success was the only option. Failure was not an option. I'm not going back to the, towing business that I was in. I wasn't going back to those kind of businesses. I liked them. I made money, but it wasn't for me. You know when a business is not for you?
Exactly.
I love the business. I learned, like I said, these 4 sections. Mm-hmm. The technology, the system, the paperwork, the city. And I was doing everything that I thought was you needed to do to get business. And then I eventually got lucky to be in contact with a gentleman over a video game. And he said, if you beat me in FIFA, which is soccer,
wow,
you could get to list my house.
That's interesting.
And you know what? I beat him. I beat him badly.
So you got your first listing from gaming.
And then I had to go see him and meet him and his wife. And then, I had to hit it off. And I've always been good with the people person stuff. It's just was getting to that point, right? And then I realized right then and there, this business is not what you know. It's not who you know. It's not where you start. It's not where you end. It's about how people like you.
Like you. I think it's every business.
If people
do business
like
with
you,
when
they will work with you.
That's
and they'll be patient while you learn. Because this is a thing when you're coming out of real estate college, they don't teach you anything.
No one teaches you.
They don't teach you the paperwork. They don't teach you the system, and you're like, oh, I'm ready to go. When I came out of college, I'm like, I know everybody. I'm going to be rich. It's not like that. They don't work with you until you're up there. They don't work with you until you have a name. Your friends and family, they disappoint you a lot. A lot when you start in this business. And I love you guys now, but I didn't love you when you started because you guys made me go through a lot, right?
Of course.
It's trial and error. You learn, but it's not an easy business. Anybody that says it's an easy business, they're not in the business.
Exactly. When I hear people say, hey, agents, you guys are the one making the real estate, market go up. You make the houses go up. You guys don't work. And I'm like, do you have anyone you know that is like in your family that you can ask questions that is doing well in real estate or as an agent and ask them, look at them, the kind of work they put in.
So
it's
easy. The way I look at it is like, if it's a sport, like I play sports, you play soccer, so we could talk about soccer.
Yeah.
When you're a football player, you train how many times a week to play one game?
To play 50 minutes if you're lucky, 60 minutes or 190 minutes.
You train 5 times a week.
Yes.
Real estate's the same.
Exactly.
Until you get one deal and you show it to the world, I sold it. They don't know how many times you've went back and forth.
Exactly.
They don't know what has happened on the back end. They just see sold. When the market's good, they're like, whoa, you're making so much money.
Imagine. I did a deal this year. If I look back at when I started talking to this person, it's 2.5 years ago. One of the deals I did this year. And it happens to be, close to 2 years. It happens to be actually my biggest deal this year. And when someone see that deal, they'll be like, oh my God. They look at the commission, like, oh my, you make that kind of money. Dude, do you know how many times I make calls and talk to this person? And now imagine I have hundreds, if not thousands of some people like that I have to talk to. When we say, we're prospecting, it's not like we call someone, we talk to them and they buy real estate. No. They might tell you, call me back in 3 months. In 3 months, you call, you're like, you know what? I think in 4 months again. But you have to do it. And you mentioned something that, and you're one of the top agents that I've been able to bring to this podcast. And I've heard this. There are times that you want to give up. Even though I started this business about 3 years ago, I know many times that I want to give up because I'm like, this is not for me. I mean, I work in IT before I got into real estate. IT is somewhere I can make money. It wasn't just for me because I was making money then. But I don't like the idea that I couldn't connect with people. It's more about my computer, writing code. Yeah. I was writing code at that time. So connecting with people through real estate, really, I like it personally. And you also mentioned another word, like you're obsessed. I think it's one of the quotes I heard a few days ago. Like, if you're interested in something, it doesn't mean you're going to succeed. You have to be interested, you have to be committed, and then you have to reach the level of obsession. You're obsessed about it. And I think that's where you are right now.
So one more layer to that is being obsessed is not enough. You got to put in the work.
Of course.
Kobe Bryant, used to start his workout at 3 a.m. to 5 a.m.
to 5 a.m. And the other people will
With
come
the
to the
other
gym
team comes,
come at 5 or
his
6
team
a.m.
comes at 6. He's already had one workout a day. When they want to know what does it take to be the best, that's what it
That's
takes.
it.
So I have agents, I have a team, and I always ask them, why did you get in the business? And when I hear the answers, I can tell you if they're going to succeed or not. Because if they say to me, I get in the business to make money, you never make money chasing money.
No.
You never make money. So the way you make money is you learn the business, you obsess over your craft and become the best, and you attract. You can never make money chasing. You have to attract.
That's it.
If you don't attract, if you don't have the skills to attract,
Or you don't learn the
then
skills.
you will always be chasing something that's running away or dwindling
Exactly.
away
Exactly.
in the wind. And the one thing that I've learned through this business is you have to attract. I've attracted everything that I have in my life. I've manifested everything I've had in my life. And it always starts with an idea. But the idea is nothing without action.
Action, yes.
And everybody has ideas. We all sit together.
Of course.
Have ideas. The thing about the negative-minded people and the positive-minded people is the negative-minded people, they have an idea and they're like, nah, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
The positive-minded people is like, try it. Give it a try. You never know. Unless you try something, how would you know if you're going to succeed?
Of course.
So there's the greatest hockey player in the world, Wayne Gretzky, is like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So how are you going to score if you don't take a shot?
If you don't try.
I'm going to try everything.
And you're going to fail.
And I'm going to tell you, I'm not worried about failure.
That's it.
I'm worried about out of 100 things, 3 things are going to work, and those 3 things are going to pay for all those 100 things.
That's it. That's it.
So that's the way you got to look at life. And there's 2 mindsets: abundance mindset and scarcity. Abundance, there's a lot for everybody. There's enough for everybody.
There's enough deal to go around, and we learn from. I mean, I learned from him. I know you learned something from him as well, Jazz. He always say, don't be an agent that will be like, no, I don't want this person to steal my client, because he told me that he's going to bring real estate to his podcast, and some of his friends will be like, why will you bring someone you're doing the same business with? But he always say, there's deal for everyone. He's not going to take my client. I'm not going to take his client. I think when you're scared of someone is going to steal my client, you're an agent now. I don't feel like bringing you here. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to learn from you, to share story, and to talk about the thing we are doing together as well.
Whatever is meant for you is meant for you.
It's meant for you, for sure.
You and I both believe that.
Of course.
At the end of the day, the people that think that, things will change for them or whatever, the only way things will change is if you change.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, our mind is the most powerful thing.
It is.
And if our mind says we can do it and we try it, we fail, we'll try another way, we fail, we'll try another way, we fail. There's going to be a breakthrough in those tries. There's lessons.
And learning from there.
There's lessons from every failure. So going back to like being an agent, if you don't have thick skin to take a loss, don't get in the business. Because you got to take losses to take wins. Exactly. Michael Jordan didn't make his college team. He got cut from a sophomore. High school. Exactly. Got cut from a sophomore high school team. And you know what? He went back. He trained. He became the best player in the world.
That's it.
So
you were, one of the things I said attracted me to you was you're an investor, you're an agent as well, and that is what I am right now. But that time I wasn't the kind of investor I want to be, right? And I know when I started talking to you at that time, a year and a half ago, you're like, Aziz, multifamily is where you should focus on as an investor. That's where the real money is, or that's where the real wealth is. I want to ask you, as an agent and as an investor, what are the strategies you're able to use to be able to do both successfully, effectively? I'm asking this question because right now when I have conversation with some of my clients as a real estate agent and trying to bring investment opportunity to them, joint venture, multifamily, they still see me as a real estate agent, right? How are you able to successfully? I mean, I've been able to do it.
There's nothing wrong with being a real estate agent.
I get it.
But The difference between what you want to do and what you want to attract.
Track.
So remember how I told you there's steps, right?
Yes.
Do your first. Do it yourself.
Yes.
Do it yourself, and then you attract the rest. Do it yourself. Whatever you want to raise, whatever you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
try, test it, and true.
True.
Do it yourself. When I attracted my investors, I'm like, come look at my house.
Come look at it.
Look at
Come
my
look at
house. By the
investment.
time the house is done, by the time they're done looking at my house, they're like, we're in. Because I do it.
Yes.
So
I mean, I do it too, but what at the beginning, when
At the
you're trying
beginning.
to bring investor,
it's very
it's
difficult.
yeah, I have some clients that I know they are high net worth, clients, and I see investment opportunities. I know they don't have the time to do it, so the joint venture strategy might be what I would present to them or something. It doesn't really click for them now. Like I would say now, it's been better, but at the beginning, I know how challenging it is. But what I want to actually ask you is, how are you able to kind of combine both and still be successful in both? Like being focusing as
So
an investor, and I know you do a lot of things, even investing. You help develop as well.
yeah.
So how are you able to combine both, even with your realtor business?
So it goes back to being a realtor, okay? When you sit with the client, the first thing they ask you is why you, Aziz?
Yes.
This is a very good question.
Why are you
If you
different?
give me a generic answer, you fail. Because I heard all of the real estate answers. So I gave them extra. Gave them my value added proposition. My value added proposition is I invest, I construct, I supply, I manage, I flip, I convert. Do you need more reasons?
So I've done it all.
So I don't want to tell you why I'm better than a normal agent,
But I tell you what I
but
have.
I have different layers of abilities that some of the agents that just buy and sell wouldn't be able to help you. I've flipped a property, so if we come across a property to flip, I can run the numbers for
Numbers
you
and say,
on
hey,
a
this might be
conservative
good
level.
for flipping.
I can help you buy, renovate, and burr a property because I've done it myself. I can help you buy a property and convert it to a duplex, triplex because I've done it myself. So this big thing that is called experience
Mm-hmm.
is massive with your value added proposition. When you say, hey, if you don't have the experience, have the team. So that will help you.
That's
If
what
you
I wanted
have the
to ask you.
team,
You can learn from the
you
experience.
can learn from their experience.
And I agree with you because I was part of Jazz Stacker's team before. I was there for a year, and I strongly believe before I joined the team, I was with another brokerage for 4 months, 5 months, and when I joined for that 1 year, what I learned on the people I was able to connect with, the people I was able to learn from within that 1 year, I think is what helped my business. You and I met doing a real estate program with Jazz, and a lot of people might not gain a lot of things from there, but I think that program, and that's why this podcast came from. I took the idea like I'm going to do this. This is not everything, but what I learned from that team, from that kind of program, is what I believe push my business to the next level and say, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is how it's going to happen. Do you get why when you started your real estate journey as a real estate agent?
Well, you took action. You took
I
action.
did.
So a lot. Let's be frank. There's a lot of people in that
same program we did.
Program. How many people took action?
Probably 2, 3.
And that's life. Out of 100 people, 80 is like agrees. They do it. Oh yeah, this is amazing. We're gonna do it. Maybe 20% is gonna take action. The rest are gonna quit. When I started college, the professor's like, look around. 50% are gonna drop out the first semester. 30% are gonna drop out the second semester. Only 20% is gonna be left. And I didn't believe, but that's life. Because when there's a little bit of pressure or a little bit of stress or things are not working out, humans, they like comfort. They quit.
They live it. They're like, it's not going to work.
Before they see something through, they quit. So good on you that you didn't quit and you're doing what you're doing. And I see that you're doing a great job on the podcast. That's awesome. And you got into the multifamily, which is what I suggested you get into.
And I got into it
And
beginning of this year, and I really like that.
Multifamily it's freedom. It's generational wealth. If you learn, the more you learn now, the more you earn later.
The more you learn now, the more you earn later.
No, the more you learn now, the more you earn later.
Later.
Right now, people call me for questions that I've dealt with 10 years ago. Right? Now, how is that empowerment? But now I charge for it. 10 years ago, I went through it.
You went through
stressful,
it. Yes.
And I was losing money. Now I charge for it.
Exactly.
Now they call me because of my connections.
And because of the experience they know you have.
Experience and connections. Experience, connections, and team. Experience, connections, and team are the three things that you're always going to need in this business. You can't do it yourself.
Of course.
You need to have the right, like-minded individuals in your circle because they could help you and they could uplift you.
Your first 3 years, did you have, as a real estate agent, and maybe as an investor as well, were you able to have a coach or mentor or someone that could help you?
No, I went through it the hard way.
Okay, because that's what I want to ask. Do you think
stubborn way? I'm Afghani. I'm very stubborn, thinking, "Oh no, I could do. I
can do it.
I can do it myself." And you can't.
I think we even where I come from too. We always want to think we can watch a lot of YouTube.
It's a bad way of thinking. It's old mentality of my people that like do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
But do it yourself costs you money, costs you time, energy,
costs you mistakes. Like you're gonna make a lot of mistakes.
For 3 years in, you're doing the right thing. You're already part of Wealth Genius. You're doing a podcast. You're connecting with the right people. 3 years in, when I got in the industry, it was different. It was like, what's mine is mine, is yours is yours.
Yeah.
You're more fortunate that it's more team oriented.
Exactly.
Back then, it was you're top dog or you're bottom. There was no teams. There was no big teams.
No big teams, and no teams that actually do what you want to be, right?
Right? Like, if I started now, I'd start on a team. Because the lessons you learn on a team are invaluable. You save yourself a lot of time.
If you want to look back at your investing journey now, you understand. I know we've talked a lot about how you're able to create wealth, go through the hardship, learn, and then you're going to be able to earn in future. But I know there are some mistakes that you might want to share with people. Is there any project or any part of your journey that you're like, wow, I made a terrible mistake? Like during your investing that now, you've learned from it?
No. You know what? Every mistake was a lesson.
That's it.
Every mistake needed to happen. You got to look at life like it's already written. Everything's already written for you and I. We need to go through what we need to go through to get us to the next level. So a mistake is a mistake that you have to learn from. You got to take the positive from the negative. So I've made a lot of mistakes, a ton of mistakes. I've trusted people,
the wrong people,
contractors, this, that, partners, but it only made me stronger. It made me more. It made me more adaptable to the conditions I'm in now. Now, any condition, it doesn't faze me.
Yeah, you can survive because you've gone through it before.
It doesn't faze me as much as it would have fazed me before that situation. So I've dealt with it. So I haven't dealt with everything, but I've dealt with a lot of the on-ground stuff. And that's what helps me know the truth from a lie. When someone's talking to me, I know if it's real or it's not.
If they know what they're doing or not.
I know contractors. I know if people are trying to impress me by talking bigger than they are. It's a lot of that, right?
Of course.
In this business, most of it's for show. A lot of them,
they don't do the work.
They don't do the work. So if they do the work, you could see the accomplishments.
That's true.
If they don't do the work, you could just see they're faking it. So when we got in the business, that was what they were telling us. The brokers, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. Okay. You could fake it so much.
Yeah, but at one point you have to make it.
And
you have to show it that you're doing it.
if you fake to the wrong person.
Yeah, they know. They know.
What? What did you say to me?
They know you're faking
That you don't want that. So you got to make sure you're faking to
it.
the people that
And try
are,
to still be yourself,
be
right?
yourself. Don't act like a know-it-all,
Know it
because
all.
no, I'm not a know-it-all. I don't like you only know what you know, and you can only provide what you know. If you don't know, you can't.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, you can't say I know it, but going back to what you say, from mistakes, you have to just take the lessons from the mistakes. At the end of the day, you're gonna make mistakes.
That's it.
You got to make your mistakes. If you want to bubble wrap yourself from mistakes, you're never gonna have experience.
That's true.
So you
You
need
can,
the
if you avoid the
experience.
mistakes, you're not gonna learn, because experience comes from what you've done, what you failed at, and what you ended up being good at, right?
What I would do now, if the landscape now is a lot more agents that are helpful now. Back then it was dog eat dog. Now agents are helpful. You could call an agent and be like, "Hey, what would you do? This,
In this
that, that."
scenario.
They would help you. Back then,
Get it?
brokers wouldn't even answer your phone calls. Forget about,
Imagine.
oh, you're on your own. It was like it's either you eat or you starve.
Or you come to our team. Come join my team and let me get
No,
commission.
14 years ago, there wasn't like that.
Really?
There was no teams.
Wow.
Teams became a big thing, I would say, the last
10 years?
10 years. When I started, there was not.
You're on your own.
Everybody
you
was
come
on
in
their
with
own.
your Wow.
It was the killers and the newbies. And I don't know if you've ever negotiated with an experienced agent, but they destroy newbies on negotiation.
I mean, I agree, but one of the things I think I still appreciate today by business is being part of a team at the beginning.
You have to be.
Because when I want to negotiate and I don't know what to do, all I do is pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Angelo,
So
what do you
didn't
think I
have
should
that.
do?"
I didn't have that. So when we were doing negotiations, when I started,
You do it yourself.
I bring an offer and they like offer presentation. You have to sit there with the agent and the seller.
Oof.
And I'm across the table and I have to present my offer. And I was like, oh,
You
my
take it or
offer.
not?
I remember my first one talking about team. Agent was from my same company. My first one ever. So I thought it'd be a little bit take it easy on me. That guy was the biggest a-hole I could ever. Like he sat me down, and the funny thing was my culture too.
Wow.
So I thought he'd really take it easy on me.
Like you're gonna be like, okay, I get this one.
Yeah. So his client was there. He was there. Please tell us what the offer is. I told the offer. He's like, where'd you get this comps from? I didn't know what comps were. He ripped me for like 20 minutes in front of his client. After that, I was so pissed off. I was so upset. I was like, I wanted to like hit this guy, because if I'm new, help me.
Help me, yeah.
Don't kick me. So now when I see new people, I always try to offer a hand, because you never know what goes around.
You never know.
And I didn't do a deal with that guy for a long time until 10 years later.
Because of that
10
scenario.
years later, I did a deal with him, and I made him suffer on that
Oh,
deal.
God.
Because I didn't forget. I was like, okay,
You
now
came back,
the
right?
ball's in my court. Okay.
Right.
Okay,
And
my
I
brother.
think what the most important thing is, if you know, as I said, we are lucky now. We last 5 years agents, we have the opportunity of joining a team. Also joining the team, you have to be very careful of the kind of team you join.
Of course.
You know, not all the teams are kind of really good for you, for your growth. Let's talk about, you know, the U.S. Which is where we are kind of focused on our business as well now. We have an event coming on.
Yeah.
On
We have an
October
event.
20.
We had one a week ago in Hamilton.
Yes.
So we've created.
And why U.S., by the way, before we even talk about this event? I want people to know why we are looking at the U.S.
I love Canada. I grew up
we are
in
Canadian.
Canada.
We love the country.
You know, I've invested in Canada. I have properties invested here. I have a lot of investors here. I think in the last, I'd say, year or so, maybe 2 years, with the rates going up 11 times. 11 times the rates went up. Affordability has become an issue.
It is an issue in Canada.
Cash flow has become an issue.
Even to qualify for mortgage is an issue as well.
All of these issues have pushed investors to different parts of the country,
Of the world,
or out of the country. So some are moving to Alberta, some are doing out east.
Some are even going to the Caribbean now.
Caribbean all over, and some are going to U.S. So I wasn't thinking about the U.S., but one of my clients, it's like, man, you got to come with us to U.S. I'm like, for what? You know what I mean? Like, I'm good here, you know? So they convinced me after a lot of going back and forth. They convinced me, and I went to them, went with them on a trip to Cleveland, Cleveland, Ohio, and I seen shades of Hamilton. I'm from Hamilton,
Yeah.
and I seen Hamilton before the 10-year boom of Hamilton. Because 10 years ago, I was telling people to invest
By
in
an
Hamilton.
Hamilton, yeah.
And some people were laughing, some people were investing. And those people laughing, thank you, because now look at Hamilton. 10 years ago, or 14, 13 years ago, you could buy a house for 100,000,
Wow.
150,000.
In Hamilton.
And now the average price, even in the worst areas, is about 6, 7. And some of those houses have actually skyrocketed over $1 million. So it's jumped up a lot because the infrastructure and all the things that's happened. So when I went to Cleveland, I see the same shades.
You see that vibe.
I see the
happening.
gentrification happening, and I see the cost of average house $120,000. So if I'm dealing with investors, and I'm actually worried about my investors, not just worried about my pocket. If they're asking me where the best place to invest, I'm going to be honest with them.
Because you want them to remember you for being very honest and bringing good opportunities.
And being honest is a very good trait for any business. Yes. Honesty is a good quality. Lying about things, it doesn't make sense. People are going to look it up.
They will find out.
Yeah, you can't hide it. So Ohio became a very viable option. I went on another bus tour with Wealth Genius, and I connected with the right people there, and I made a team there. And I made a team here. And my investing journey started with a name that I created, which was Manifest, which I'm wearing the shirt, Manifest. So Manifest, but because everything that I ever wanted in my life, I manifested in my mind, and then I put it into action. At first, I was afraid, because anybody's afraid. The first time you got an idea, you go to your parents are like, no. You go to your mom, you're like, no. Why? It can't happen. Because their mentality is back home. But once you start trying things, you see what can happen, what can't happen. So I did it here in Canada, and it worked. And I looked into the U.S., and the more I looked into it, the better it became an option, because things are a lot more streamlined and easier. It's more of a capitalistic country where it's easier to do investments, get mortgages, and do investments and property prices, and you could cash flow. Appreciation is not as high as it is here, but cash flow is heavy.
It's heavy there.
And there's a lot of great things with not having to do with the LTB, Landlord-Tenant Bureau, that we have here,
which we have here, especially in Ontario. It's one of the biggest thing from some of my investors. They really don't want to invest in Ontario. Some of them are even open to go to Alberta. But when you look at the stress, the challenges in dealing with landlord and tenant board, it's challenging for you to say you want to invest here.
That's it.
Except if you're working with someone that truly, have done it, have the right team, belong to the, very good investment community like Wealth Genius, knowing people like you that you can say, okay, you know how to still navigate here. But as you said, when you now look at the challenges in Ontario, even you that you're good at it, and you see US, you're like, okay, why should we continue to invest here? Or why can't we also invest here and in the US?
You could diversify. I'm not saying bring all the investment to the US. Weigh the pros and cons based on a deal basis, right?
Exactly.
Like, you got to look at the pros and cons of where you're investing. And the price per, the price per door, the price for an investment. It's a lot cheaper to invest in Ohio than it is in Ontario. The average price is $120. So if you're 75% loan to value, that's $30,000-$40,000.
Exactly.
Where are you buying a house in Canada for $30,000-$40,000?
No, yeah.
So the opportunity is there. The opportunity cost is a lot cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So I built a team here in Ontario where we have everything from IT people, from mortgage specialists, from investors, from realtors, and I built a team in the U.S. where we have realtors, investors.
And I think we're going to have some of them coming to our event as well.
Yeah,
right?
we have a U.S. Realtor coming,
okay,
and we're working on a U.S. bank coming. Talk about how
it
is.
Great.
So there's a lot of value. So when it goes back to when you said how'd you get investors to work with you? I offer more value than they can handle. It's all about value.
That's true.
When you give people value, they come back to you. So with our seminars, the first one, I think you couldn't
I
attend
couldn't
that
make
first
it in
one.
Hamilton. Yeah.
We had a packed house, and we gave them a ton of value,
Yeah.
knowledge, and I don't charge anything for my seminars. The reason I don't charge anything is because you'll come back.
They come back to you. As you
Yeah.
said at the beginning, when people like you, when they
Mhm.
know you have the value you're giving, they work with you.
And they'll work with you. And we're looking for JV partnerships there.
Mhm.
I also have a construction company.
Yeah, I know we talked about
So
that. As well.
the possible, I built one in the U.S. So I have a U.S. construction company. I have one in Canada.
See,
And
he's the one making all the money in real estate in North America.
No. And supplies, we get supplies for cheap. I have supplies there. So the value with working with us is huge. So when you compare it to others that are like, okay, we could take your money and we'll give you a dividend. But what if you want to learn? What if you want to earn and learn?
Exactly.
I'm giving you an option to earn and learn. And you don't have to be with me after you learn. You could go on your own. But most likely you're going to want to be with me because my costs are lower than what it would be for you.
Exactly.
So I'm giving you a blue collar option for blue collar individuals, not people that are, that just want to invest their money. They could do that too. We have that option too. So we're looking for JVs. We're looking for money lenders.
Okay.
We're looking for silent JVs, active JVs. And we are going to have a program with the mentorship program, which we teach people how to invest. You know what I mean? It's not going to be just, we're going to do all the investing and teach you nothing. It's going to be a nominal cost for it, but we're going to teach you so you have someone with the training wheels on your bike pushing you, and then slowly taking off training wheels, and you can do it on your own.
So I know we have the event this month, October 20. I'll put the link of how to register for the event on this podcast, because we're going to actually release this episode before the event. So
it's actually almost sold out, the first portion.
Yeah, I think you sent me the screenshot.
Yeah, the first portion.
I know a lot of people from my community as well that I sent the link to. They said they're going to register. So I think we might see a lot of people from my community. Please come for this event. This is where you can learn on how to not only invest in Canada only, which we're still going to teach as well, but also how you can invest in the Canadian resident, PR holder, Canadian citizen or anything, to invest in the U.S. so that you can kind of diversify your investment.
This is a ton of value that you're offering to your community, and the Toronto. Toronto's a huge market for that.
It is a huge market.
And there's a lot of people that are going to be coming that want to invest, but they don't know how to get started in Toronto, or they just don't have enough money to do it in Toronto. But that doesn't mean they can't invest in other places. So it's a great option.
Because I know we're about to finish the podcast now, but I want to ask you a question. I always try to know a little bit about the personal life of any of my guests.
Of course.
When you were starting out, you mentioned like some of your parents is not too sure if it's the right thing. But looking back now, you've had more businesses to deal with, both as an agent, both as an investor. How are you able to now still be able to be a father, to be a husband, to be a son?
You have to team.
With the business as well.
You have to make a bigger team.
So the team is...
You have to delegate work. You can't... So I have a bigger staff than I have work right now. I've built a staff like an army with departments. And you'll see on October 20th, everybody has a role. And everybody gets paid fairly based on their role. I'm a fond believer of let people prove themselves.
Yes.
Because
give them freedom.
Give them freedom and tell them their role and let them prove themselves. It's hard. I have 2 young kids. I have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Wow.
So I'm busy.
They keep you busy, kids,
But I want to retire in 5 years. I don't want to be doing this in 5 years. I want to be helping investors and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I don't want to be too active.
I don't want to be doing the real estate grind in 5 years.
You've worked hard over a decade now. You've
you know what? It takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
And like if you want to be the top agent, which I obsessed of being, you don't have time for life. You don't have time for your wife. You don't have time for your kids. My poor wife went through so much when I was trying to make money. And I made money, but she's sitting in the car. I'm inside doing a deal. An hour inside doing a deal. Come out. Our reservations are lapsed. You know what I mean? So much stuff. Let me tell you one thing. You have to obsess over it. Like, you have to obsess over it to be the best. And you know,
Well, you need to have the right partner as well. You know, some of us, you and I think we are lucky to have the right
Yeah.
partner. My wife
Yeah.
she's also part of this, you know, the production as well. You have to have the right partner to
you have to.
understand.
She has to understand.
You know,
My wife didn't understand until we were married. Because until we were engaged, because, you know, in our culture, they can't move in. So when we did nikah and she moved in, she lived in Scarborough. So imagine
and you
you
live in
see this guy
Hamilton.
once a week. He comes and sees you, and then he's too busy for you 6 days a week. So in her head, what is this guy doing? She doesn't know. She doesn't even know what I own. She doesn't know what I didn't tell my wife anything. Guys, don't tell your wife anything until you have make sure it's the right wife.
Yeah, make sure it's the right wife.
but
That's it.
When she moved in, after a week, she told
understand.
her family, like, you guys, all of you put together don't work as hard as this guy. She has brothers, 2 brothers, sister, don't work as hard as this guy. And then she had a different found appreciation. Because she's thinking, you know, women think all kinds of
Why
stuff.
is he not having time for me?
You know? I'm past that time. I was past that time in my life for, you know, having fun and this and that. I was about setting up my business and making money and getting stuff set up. But it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And then when you have children, you don't want to do it. You know, like, you want to
stay with them.
You want to
right?
do it. You want to spend time with your kids. Like, my son is like, why daddy's not around? My daughter, like, when we take a vacation, you're a realtor still. You're still getting calls. You're still just that. You're still.
We were in Costa Rica last year. It happened.
You have to answer those calls, and if your wife or your spouse does not understand that, then it's not going to work for you. Because I remember prior to being married, dating, and people not understanding, and my business was suffering
because you want to please
make them happy.
Yeah.
But making them happy wasn't making me happy.
Wow.
So it's a juggling act. But going back to your question, you have to have a team, and you got to build on a team. And if you want to scale and make a business bigger, you need a team.
Exactly.
You can't do it yourself. As an agent, you're doing everything right now on your own.
Most of the thing,
you're burning the candle on all sides.
On yourself.
But when you start seeing more opportunity, more business, you got to, like, I have a real estate team, I have a construction team, I have a manifest team, right? Everybody knows what, like, I could call anybody any time of the day, and they could help me with something. There's still a lot of responsibility
on you,
but you could delegate work.
This. Exactly.
Showings, delegate, writing offers, you know, all of these things you're going to have to be able to do if you want to reach another level.
Bro, I genuinely appreciate it because I know I've been running after. I have to bring money to my podcast.
No.
I'm able to bring you here today, and I'm sure when people listen to this episode, they're going to learn a lot from what you've shared. You've shared about your journey about a real estate agent as an investor. So it's not going to be only for realtors. It's not even only going to be for people investing in real estate. You talk about life. You talk about business. I appreciate your time today.
No problem.
You know, you drove down here from Hamilton for me.
No problem.
And I hope we're going to do a lot of things together. October 20, we are doing an event for the U.S. investors on how to invest in multifamilies in the U.S. And let's see you there. Let's see how we can work together on this.
For sure, brother. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.